Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains episode summary discussion. So episode 41 just aired yesterday, and I think it was on Tuesday, we got the summaries and cast list for episode 42, along with the summary for episode 43. Now, we knew nothing about 43 until a couple of days ago, and in this video, obviously, I will be going over 42 and 43, giving my thoughts and predictions on where I think this duel is going to go, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys about this, since this is really the climax, could be the final duel of the first major arc in Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. So these next two summaries are very, very intriguing. If you do not want any spoilers, now is your chance to click off the video. 3, 2, 1, here we go. So as always, big thank you to DMC for translating episode 42, the Stardust Roads Guidance. Now, we only knew the title of that episode until Tuesday, but now we have the summary and the cast. Playmaker manages to withstand a brutal attack from Revolver's Link monster. Sensing the presence of monsters in the Tower of Hanoi, he flies into it. Playmaker then bets it all on a draw, but ... The cast list is Playmaker, I, Kusanagi, Revolver, Kogami, Frog / Pigeon, and extras. The only shock there, and it's not really even a shock, but the only different character there than in the 41 episode is Dr. Kogami. So Dr. Kogami will be speaking. Maybe Dr. Kogami will have something to do with the final sentence there. Playmaker using his skill, Storm Access. I'm assuming he's already down to under 1,000 life points, and then something weird happens. Remember, it was Kogami that kind of saved Revolver after Playmaker beat him way back in episode 11 or episode 12. So Kogami very well could get involved with this duel in some way, shape, or form, especially based on the 43 summary. So 43 is the birth of Ignis, which is really awesome. That's the title of the episode. The summary: Playmaker has realized who Revolver might be during the duel. However, due to a shockwave generated in the data storm, Yusaku is forced to log out. He now heads to a certain location in the real world where Revolver is supposed to be. That is awesome. When I read that, I was so excited for this episode. I think this more confirms that whether it's Kogami's doing or not, something will go wrong in episode 42 towards the end when Playmaker uses his Storm Access. I imagine he'll get a monster, and maybe just like when Playmaker and Revolver first dueled, when Playmaker got that monster during their speed duel, but then he used it in the master duel, because you can't use a skill during a master duel, at least from what we've seen so far. So I imagine maybe he'll pick up a monster and then they'll duel in the real world. Also, when I first read this, I thought immediately that Revolver is Jin. And I know that sounds crazy. I don't believe that anymore. I immediately thought, like, Revolver has to be someone that we as the audience know. So he has to be Jin, because where in the world is Jin? It would make no sense if Jin is not going to have any role in this arc at all. But based on getting Revolver's flashback child appearance looking nothing like Jin, mainly because of the hair color, I don't really believe that he is Jin. I think instead and the only reason I believe that initially is because Playmaker isn't going to remember some random person that he hasn't mentioned so far, but the other big mystery is the person who gave him courage. That most likely was not Jin. That most likely was a voice on the outside of this experiment. That most likely is Revolver. And so Revolver is going to be the person who gave him courage, and that's why Playmaker has realized who Revolver might be. And Revolver already knows who Playmaker is, so it's interesting that Revolver hasn't used that as leverage to this point. It's almost like Revolver wants to tell Playmaker, and maybe he will in episode 42, like, I know who you are, I know you're Yusaku, but it's not fair for you not to know who I am. I want you to meet me at Stardust Road. I want you to see who I am. I already know who you are, so you have no point in not coming, because you're not going to be able to hide your identity, but I want you to see my face as well. I hope it's a situation like that, and the fact that these two are going to meet in real life, and the fact that they're meeting in real life also means Kusanagi could get involved somehow, whether he's watching, on the sidelines, or he goes with Yusaku to confront Revolver as well. Kusanagi is an X factor there, and so that'll be interesting to see Kusanagi out of that hot dog truck, because I don't think we've seen him outside the hot dog truck yet. So it'll be weird to see him like standing up in a full body shot, but it'll also be really cool, and hopefully they will utilize him. And we also have Dr. Kogami, who, keep in mind, Dr. Kogami can't do anything in this duel. If this goes to the real world, Dr. Kogami is, as far as we know, trapped in Link VRains. So Kogami will have absolutely no influence, and that could be another reason that Revolver wants to do this in the real world. Maybe he doesn't want it. He already hid the fact that he knew who Playmaker was from his dad. Remember, he already hid that fact in the recap during 38, so clearly he doesn't want his dad to know Yusaku is Playmaker for whatever reason, and maybe this will be the moment where, outside of Link VRains, where his dad isn't there to whisper in his ear, Revolver will clear his head, he will have that change of heart, and then we could see these two go back into Link VRains for one final duel against Kogami, which is what I've predicted for a while. I always thought the final duel was going to be Kogami versus Revolver and Playmaker. Meanwhile, clearly this duel is, so the speed duels are going to be 2 draws, or it's going to be a case where this duel is not a draw and it just has a no result and ends early, and then they have another master duel in the real world. We have not seen a duel in the real world to this point, so that will be another really cool aspect we could be getting. And this duel could end up going to like episode 45 if episode 43 begins a new duel, but I have a feeling, and it'll be awesome, the potential to see Yusaku duel and not as Playmaker, and see there is a lot to look forward to in these next 2 episodes, guys. I am so excited. I really cannot wait. And of course I want to hear from you guys as well. And I haven't even gone over the title of episode 43, The Birth of Ignis. Of course, we have now some backstory on Ignis. We know that I purposely lied to Playmaker and that all the Ignis were developed and born basically because of these experiments. Now, I am going to talk a little bit about the 6 kids in the picture. I did in my 41 review a little bit, but there is definitely, I've debated it on Twitter with a few people, there is definitely a lot of strangeness going on, especially with the female in this picture. We have a female, the only people we know that were definitely involved in this, by the way, in the experiment, is Yusaku, Spectre, and Jin. The other 3 are all question marks, and you could say Revolver, Aoi, and Go. And maybe that's a safe way to say it, because obviously Go is an orphan. Someone else brought up a good point that Aoi might have went through these experiments before she was adopted by Akira's family, right? Before Akira's dad married her mom and Akira came into her life. In that case, Akira wouldn't have to remember, or wouldn't have had to have his brain wiped or something to forget these experiments. But why does Aoi not remember these experiments at all? Why did Spectre not, when he dueled Aoi, say that Aoi was one of the kids, whereas he knew right away that Playmaker was one of the kids? So there's something weird there. But the other weird thing is that the blue AI, which you'll see on screen right here, literally looks like Aoi. She's blue, which symbolizes Aoi's VR form, Blue Angel, even though the other thing is, would Aoi have had that VR form when she was that young, when that certain Ignis was created? And also, she has the pigtails, just like Aoi does, just like the girl in this room has in the picture. So, I have no idea. Other people are saying that it could be Aoi and Go. A lot of people are assuming that Revolver was involved in this program. He might not have been. Revolver might have just been the voice on the outside spectating, so I'm not so quick to say that Revolver was one of the kids. I think you could definitely make that claim and have it backed up by a decent amount of evidence and a decent amount of maybe foreshadowing, but we haven't had any confirmation that Revolver was one of the kids, so I'm not certain that he was. It could have been a case where Kogami literally said to him, like, I'm creating Ignis based off the best duelists. I want you to go into this room. I want there to be an Ignis based off your dueling. You're an incredible prodigy duelist. And that's why Revolver willingly went through these experiments. And hopefully we will get more info on that in episode 43. And we might even get the names of the other kids that were involved in the incident. And so here's the other thing. Some people have said maybe Aoi's mind was wiped. Maybe her memories were suppressed by some kind of device. But if that's the case, why didn't the Knights do that for every single person? Obviously, Spectre joined the Knights. You wouldn't have to do it for him. But if you wiped the mind of Yusaku, then Playmaker is never born, because Yusaku never remembers these events. And if Yusaku never remembers these events, he doesn't have any reason to go after the Knights of Hanoi. Playmaker is literally never born, and the Knights have their way in Link VRains with the Ignis, and there's no opposition. So maybe there was some weird thing that happened where they were about to wipe his mind, but it didn't come to fruition. I don't know. The other thing that links Aoi to this blue AI and would link her to the Lost Incident is the opening. In the opening scene, we have Playmaker, Revolver, Aoi, and Go all, together and Aoi turns into the blue color. I believe Go turns into the yellow color at the very end of the opening, which led me to do a theory way back in episode 6 about, Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains storyline, and I literally guessed that Revolver, Go, Aoi, and Playmaker were 4 of the kids, and also with Spectre and Jin. Those could be the 6 kids that were involved. Otherwise, we're going to have a new female and 1 or 2 other male characters that are going to have, hopefully, an important role down the line, and hopefully their role doesn't diminish what I think has been a pretty good start for Aoi and Emma and other female characters in the show, but we will have to wait and see. There's definitely so much to look forward to, guys, and so much you can speculate just based off these small summaries, and I am going to cut myself off there. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. I will link this down below, all these summaries, if you do want to read them for yourself, and I really do hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you are looking forward to these next couple of episodes, because I am so excited for them, and to see what they will bring as this first arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains is coming to an end. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you as always for the constant support. I'll see you in the next video. I'll talk to you down below, and I hope you have an amazing day.